Okay, so can you guys see me on your end, or
What's up, buddy?
hey, that better?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you hear? Oh,
Yeah.
You
Yeah, sorry. Like I said,
Do you have a pair of headphones or a pair of earbuds?
No, I don't.
Because we're gonna get a really bad echo.
Oh, you're getting bad echo on your end?
Yeah. Because you can hear us coming back through your mic.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't have anything like that on my end.
All right.
Um, is there anything on my end?
What's that?
Is there anything on this end that I can mute stuff like background noise or something, or what I need specifically?
Well,
That's about the best we can do is mute your mic when we're talking.
Okay,
Are
I
you
just kind
using
of
your phone?
Yeah, it's phone.
Okay. Yeah, it's about the best way we'd be able to do it.
Okay. So just basically wherever I'm talking, y'all have your mic muted, and then wherever you're talking, I have my muted.
Well, we don't have to mute ours because we got the earbuds, so you won't come through our mic.
Okay. Cool. Okay, but yeah, this is something that's kind of been in the works for a while. I think back in January, I reached out to you guys. There was something with we're gonna do like a Dracula deep dive. Initially was the plan, and then on my end, scheduling just got in the way, and so much stuff just ended up popping up that I had to. Yeah. And there's a new Superman movie coming out, and with that coming out, I figured this would be a good time to, like Brightburn. I don't know how much attention it would get on my channel, like just talking about it from my end because it's basically Marvel and DC content over here. But with you guys being a more horror themed channel, I figured it'd be good to get y'all's perspective on it.
I've got a big fan of comics. Are we already live?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's live right now.
Oh, yeah, my bad. I thought it was just bullshit beforehand. So yeah, like I grew up a big comic book fan. My dad and mom owned a movie video store, and right next door was my cousin Tim, and he had Tim's cards and comics. So we would go in there and we would trade baseball cards, and I would flip through comic books. I still got a couple long books upstairs. It's a passion of mine too. Like I do love comic books. I love superheroes. I love DC comics. Love Image comics. It's always been kind of my thing.
Yeah, that was actually one thing I was going to ask both of y'all in regards to before we get talking about Brightburn itself is what kind of background you have on Superman in general, because this is technically kind of like an evil Superman type story.
Mm-hmm. And I think that it's really impressive. I think it's a bummer that the movie flopped as bad as it did, because it's an amazing movie, and I think that the universe could have been it. So what's your background on that?
I really don't have a background. I like the Spider-Man movies, but I don't read comics all that much. The Walking Dead one.
Yeah.
So for Ashley, would you going into this as just like a standard horror movie? Did you have anything of just horror knowledge with compared to Ken, of him having more kind of like a Superman knowledge? Was it a different experience on your end?
Yeah, I think so. I guess I thought it was cool, or I thought it would have been cool if they would have made it like a whole horror superhero type universe. I thought that would be really cool. But I didn't watch it because it was like a horror super movie.
Yeah.
So
I'm sharing this out on our channel too. So I didn't know we were already live. I feel bad.
No, you're good. This is like I was saying earlier in the with my emails. This is first time. I've tried doing live stream stuff a couple times before, and for whatever reason, it's my channel's only like 190. So like it's like like sometimes like it's not as bad as whenever I was down to like 50, 60 subscribers because it was spiking me pretty much every day. It's gotten better. But yeah, it still likes to be a little bit.
You gotta start somewhere, man. Like,
oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, like just, as long as you keep putting out the content and keep working your butt off, you'll be just fine.
Yeah, and it took us forever.
We had a lot of friends that walked us through it the way we just did with you. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we do in the community. When we first did this, Nick from the Lost River Drive-In and Justin from Ryan 1988, they completely walked us through how to do a live and create a live and do all that.
Yeah. So with
Joseph.
So yeah, with y'all, whenever with y'all being parents, did that have a deeper impact with y'all, like or were your kids born? Because this is back in 2019, I believe, is when it came out.
Yeah.
We had two at that point.
And it did as like a mother aspect. Like she loved him so much, and she just wanted a baby and couldn't have one of her own. And then she finds this baby, and she literally takes care of him his entire life, and then she just throws her from the fucking predator.
And I think the other thing with that too is the fact that like when the dad tries to shoot him.
Yeah.
That whole scene.
And he just couldn't. Like it
didn't hurt him. Yeah. You know, and the dad is just like, oh.
Yeah, like he's gonna kill me.
Yeah, he's gonna kill me.
But even when he was doing all that evil stuff, the mom was still like, I love you. And like I said, drop it from 8. That's horrible. It's like, that's like my worst nightmare.
And seeing this juxtaposition of an evil Superman, like that's not supposed to happen. You know, like when you think Superman, you think bravery, you think courage, you think hero.
Yeah.
And so for him to, when you see him using those powers to kill people, like the uncle death in the car, like that was so fucking gnarly. And it really bums me out that we didn't get the love for the food. You guys know about how having kids. My son went with us this year. You know, so I'm looking at him the whole time.
Like you better
Yeah. Me and my wife, we've been married for a few years now, and we don't have any kids. So for us, it's just kind of just this interesting horror concept of. I grew up in an environment with a bunch of Marvel and DC related stuff. My dad was into a bunch of the old like Adam West Batman, the Lou Ferrigno Incredible Hulk stuff. There was I believe it was a sci-fi channel. They did a block that was called like Superhero World or something like that. And they would do like a bunch of like marathons of those shows. And we had a bunch of VHS tapes that had those like recorded on it. And for me, that was kind of my early introduction to stuff like that. And throughout the years, I just started getting more and more into it. And like recently,
comic books, are you more of a Marvel or DC guy?
I'm one of those guys. I'm kind of like right down the middle. Where it basically kind of depends. Like for me personally, like I just recently watched the Christopher Reeve Superman films for the first time earlier this week. Like, and seeing that for the first time in 2025 was definitely an interesting experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Growing up, I didn't like Marvel comics, man. They were too cartoony. You know, where DC was like kind of darker and mysterious. And adult themed almost. Marvel themed so cartoonish. And the only thing I liked about Marvel, I don't know if you remember this. They used to have Marvel trading cards. And you could get the holographic cards where you could see through the cards of the X-Men. And collecting those. Like we would go to the comic shop, Prince Cards and Comics with my cousin. And we would go through all the X-Men comics. We'd go through, outside the X-Men trading cards. And then the DC comics, you know, like the Death of Superman. January 93, I'm waiting outside for my birthday. My birthday is January 10th.
Yeah.
And for my birthday, I'm like, if they kill him in this comic's going to be worth so much money. And I got it. Like with the newspaper clipping and the poster and the black banner. I still have that. And then like 2 months later, they brought him back. I'm like, damn it, this isn't going to be worth anything. I thought the funeral for a friend storyline was just amazing.
From what I remember, initially they actually were having the initial thought of when they did the whole Death of Superman thing in the comics originally. It wasn't supposed to be as long as it was. It was supposed to be just kind of like something that just happened. And it turned out that when they released it, apparently the news outlet that picked up the Death of Superman, there was so little going on in the world at that point that it became like the #1 headline that weekend and exploded. And they're kind of like, oh crap, like we have to actually, we can't just bring him back, like, you know, just like we have to do something of, and that's when I did the whole thing with like the whole Reign of the Superman stuff. And but yeah, with Doomsday especially, I was very surprised with how brutal, because to my knowledge, the Death of Superman is one of those ones that it was one of the first times that you actually got something that was that brutal, of not just a character dying. Because we had characters in Marvel and DC who were killed off before. That, you know, obviously like heroes that had died and villains that had died and stuff. But this is something that like the entire comic was just as brutal as could be, and was very violent and shocking.
Yeah. Oh, and like when you see him come down with that final blow, and then absolutely, you know, like it's an epic ending. One of my favorite, like I said, one of my favorite novels of all time, and then you have the Identity Crisis novel. I think that is the best written graphic novel of all time. The whole story of Identity Crisis. Have you ever read Identity Crisis?
So for me, I'm actually a little behind on when it comes to the DC side stuff. As far as the novels and stuff, I'm more into like a bunch of the movies and stuff. But yeah, I read Death of Superman. I'm pretty sure I read Superman Red Sun a while back. That was pretty good. The Dark Knight Returns was one of the first ones I read that was very solid. I enjoyed that. That was the first time that like, if you have told me beforehand that you have had a comic where Batman can realistically beat Superman, I probably would have laughed in your face. But after that, like seeing that final battle and just the way that it's laid out, like realistically, I know that Superman would turn him into a smear. I mean, because it's Superman, he'll probably turn him into paste. But just like anytime that somebody brings up the argument of like, there's no way Batman could beat Superman, I point to that comic and it's like, yeah, that's one of those ones that like, yeah. But as far as like Marvel goes, there was God Loves, Man Kills.
Okay.
That I thought I was pretty solid. Did a very good job of like prejudice and really kind of like homing in a little bit on it. Kind of inspired a little bit of X-Men 2.
Sure.
But yeah, there's definitely a good handful of Marvel and DC stories that held up pretty good.
Well, and when we talk about Brightburn, I think horror and comic books go together well. We talk about Spawn, The Crow, Constantine, like all these other crossover comic books and horror that I think really mesh together. Walking Dead. They really mesh together really well. And I would love even a Brightburn comic.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like I would love to see this world expand on even more. and see what can be done with it, and see what can be done with this, with these characters, with this different environment. Like even the whole thing at the end with Michael Rooker, where he's talking about like the different other like beings out there, and you get like the brief shot of Rainn Wilson from Super. So that was pretty cool. Like they clearly had plans to in some way expand, but like you said, the box office back then, especially, just didn't really make that much of a splash. And I think James Gunn even mentioned recently, earlier, not too long ago, that he's mentioned that due to rights issues, they might not be able to explore it at all.
No, the last we knew that it was completely canceled. There's not going to be an alternate universe, nothing like that.
Yeah, like I know the kid has mentioned a couple times that he's interested in returning.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as far as like actually like getting an official like Brightburn 2 or anything in that universe, chances are small to none of it actually happening, which sucks because like I've just seen this recently. Like this is like a very new watch for me. But even as seeing this, it's like something that like when it ends, like you want to, you know, see more of that world and see more of those characters.
Yeah.
Especially when you see how dark Brandon is. The kills in this movie are just absolutely phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Like you said, the guy who gets his jaw ripped off is like, it's just like a very cool, nasty, and gnarly death. Like
it's gross. Or the lady in the cooler.
Yeah.
And like the mom who ends up getting the shard of glass in her eye.
Oh yeah.
That was like just like the way that's framed and the way that they do the camera work on that and stuff is, and it's splitting the camera angle to where it's like, you know, partially red because of the blood. Like I thought it was really well handled. Yeah.
I love that. But I think the big thing of this movie too is it wasn't marketed as a horror movie or a superhero movie. Really, it was marketed as kind of like a mixture of both. And I think this really went hard on the fact that this was a horror movie.
Yeah, from what I remember of marketing wise, it was kind of after the fact that they kind of decided to market a little bit more as a superhero horror. But when it initially debuted, it was just kind of, it's like, it just kind of showed up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, overall, I thought it was pretty enjoyable. I had a good time with it, and it was an interesting experiment for sure. And like I said, with Super being involved, it would have been nice to be able to see this world expand out more. And like you said, even if they could figure out something like a graphic novel of like a Brightburn 2 of some kind, even that would be kind of like would be interesting to explore, like to see something like that.
What if we could get a crossover of that with DC and see like the Brightburn villain universe versus the Justice League?
Yeah, something like, I mean, like there could be something like, especially considering that like there's like certain like comics characters and stuff that were like Army of Darkness has crossover with everything. Like I don't know how much y'all know about like the Army of Darkness comics from like Evil Dead, but like he has crossed over with basically like 12 different properties.
Mm-hmm.
where it's like, if you want to dive more into the Evil Dead franchise, it like
right over here, I have Jason versus Freddy versus Assassin.
Yeah.
I think it's upstairs. It might be there.
found it. Like, yeah, we got our Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash. Like, we got the novel right here. And it's awesome, man.
Yeah, I personally haven't got a chance to actually read any of the Army of Darkness like tie-in comics like that myself, but I did enjoy. I believe it was during the writer's strike when James A. Janice with Dead Meat, when he did the coverage of both of the comic crossovers for his kill counts, and so that was fun. Like of getting to see that explored through that avenue.
Was it James or was it Zoran?
I'm pretty sure James did the first one. I think Zoran might have done the second one.
Oh, okay.
I believe.
Because I like Zoran's great too, man. Like obviously we're Dead Meat fans. But we love that whole team. Like even our friend Chauncey that does production crowds and health. I love watching what she does, and I think that the Dead Meat team as a whole is very hardworking and very very good for the horror community.
Hey, they're definitely one of the ones that I watch like fairly regularly. Like I'm still waiting. One of the segments that they had for a while that I was having a lot of fun with, that I really wish they'd bring back, that has potential, is the little like 8 to 10 minute like shows that Zoran was doing. They Talk. Did you ever see those?
Yeah.
That was scare me. When our youngest daughter, Kenley, was first getting into horror, we showed her They Talk. And the They Talk on Friday the 13th Part 3, like we couldn't ever get away from it. She wanted to watch it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I actually wanted to ask y'all about a little bit too, is how did that turn out with having with y'all's kids? Like what was kind of the kickoff of getting them like into horror on their end?
We never really watched horror with our kids. They kind of went into it on their own. And like our son got really into Saw out of nowhere. And so we watched the Saw movies with him. And then Chloe, our middle daughter, she still to this day doesn't really give a shit about horror.
She likes Saw.
She does like Saw, and she likes Child's Play. And then our youngest is our horror fan. Like her last birthday, her 5th birthday was Abigail. She had an Abigail cake. She dressed up like a vampire ballerina. She's got Megan posters in her room. She's a big Megan fan. We're going to see Megan 2.0 next week with her. So we kind of let them determine when they were ready to get into horror.
Okay.
It's like I'm a huge baseball fan. I don't force my kids to watch baseball. You know, it's like my daughters don't give a shit about baseball, so I watch it. And I feel the same way about horror. Like if you try to force your kids into doing it, or you try to coerce them into doing it, they're not going to like it. Yeah, they're going to hate horror even more.
Have any of them shown any interest on their end? Have any of them shown any interest on their end of Brightburn, or have y'all watched that with them, or is that something that you and Ashley have seen?
Oh, we watched Brightburn with our son, and he didn't like it.
Oh yeah,
he was not a Brightburn fan. Which is fine. You know, I loved it. And we still have talked about it all the time about how he doesn't like it. But at the end of the day, like I said, we always feel like when it comes to raising our kids, especially that they're human beings, and we don't control them. We're there to give them advice. We're there to lead them. We're there to pick them up if they fall down. And we're there to let them have the freedom to create themselves as human beings.
Yeah. Okay, cool. But yeah, trying to think if there's anything else that needs to really be discussed about a movie about like already covered the kills a good bit. Like I said, it had pretty good kills in it, very solid kills.
I think a big part of this movie too is you feel sympathy for Brandon. You know, like he's getting kind of shit on at school. and then kind of takes things into his own hands, but a little extreme.
Yeah.
But you feel bad for the kid for a good portion of the runtime.
That is one thing I will say is it would have been nice to see the kid fleshed out a little bit more because his turn of kind of becoming evil does kind of like happen.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't really get to see much of a. I would also like to see more explanation of what was going on with the ship. Because like there's like
that's the only thing that can hurt it.
This like demonic like chanting type thing of like clearly something is like he's some kind of like alien sleeper agent or something, or something tied to the ship is like, you know, like how much of this is like him just being like, you know, like inherently evil. How much is it of like is he being like manipulated by something else? Like
Mm-hmm.
and that's one of those things I think like even like when you said like a graphic novel explanation of like expanding more about like because in the movie we don't really get a full explanation really of to why he really goes evil.
Right.
Like he's just kind of
that's a big part of it.
Yeah,
I would love to see that expanded on.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. That be from y'all or me?
But
I don't
not
know.
us.
No, it's definitely not more. Let's stop it. Well,
There it is. Okay.
Okay. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, is there anything else that y'all had on y'all's end that y'all want to discuss? Or
No, man, we appreciate you bringing us on and let us hang out for a half hour.
well, for sure. Like, yeah, absolutely. It's nice being able to get like a perspective from somebody else, like that from you guys, and getting to see, you know, like what your thoughts on the film were, of like what it meant to y'all's background with, you know, like because I personally would have probably never paid you for like a comic book guy. Like,
See, and that's funny because I've been in the comic books my whole life.
Yeah.
Like I said, you got to check out the Identity Crisis novel.
Yeah.
It's like a episode of CSI mixed with DC.
Okay.
You have Sue Darby, the wife of Ralph, the stretchy guy from the Fantastic Four. She's killed, and the whole Justice League comes together to try to figure out who did it.
Okay, that sounds cool.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I'll definitely look into it. I actually just got a new pickup myself the other day. My local comic book shop, they did a thing that just kind of jumped out called Superman Smashes the Klan.
That's hilarious.
Where apparently it's like Superman like going against like the KKK, which that was just seeing that kind of like was like an interesting thing of like, that could be like intriguing to see how that plays out. Like there's definitely certain stuff that I'd like to be able to get into. I picked up All-Star Superman about a month ago, and looking forward to getting into that. But yeah. There's a lot that looking forward to like deep diving more into and exploring more, and yeah.
And you absolutely got to let me know after you read Identity Crisis.
Oh, absolutely.
I'd love to know what your opinion on it is.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I've got y'all's channel linked down in the description of this video. So that way, for wherever y'all end up, do y'all have anything coming up on y'all's end that y'all want to promote coming up for Sledgehammer Horror? Or
Yeah. Look here real quick. We just loaded up because we're actually going to be taking a vacation from Sledgehammer Horror for a week. Just kind of, regrouping. So Monday is our My First Horror Movie with Jordan Blum on Poltergeist.
Oh, that should be fun.
Wednesday is our review of Diaz Terra Yan Lorente, which is a Turkish horror film. And then Friday is our review of Megan 2.0.
Okay, I'm definitely intrigued of seeing how Megan 2.0 plays out. The trailers for that have definitely been interesting. Of like, this is either going to be unbelievably eye-rolling stupid, or it's going to be a very nice way to expand this into a very fun universe.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be Terminator 2.
Yeah, that's what everybody seems to be kind of saying. Is it's looking of like that's what it's inspiring to be, at least.
Yep.
The only thing that I say that is like slightly a little bit for me that I'm not 100% sure on is like the little Teletubby robot thing that she's in at the beginning, and then them putting in the new TikTok dance, her at a concert in one of the trailers.
Yeah.
So like it's definitely a little like
I think the trailers are aimed for the people that the people like they still think she's a badass warrior princess. They know their audience, and I think that's brilliant.
It's definitely got me more intrigued.
It's hard for us to be fair when it comes to Megan because we're friends with Amy Donald and her mother, the ones that play Megan. So we're gonna love the movie probably no matter what. At least for Amy's performance. We'll still be honest if it's a good movie or not.
Yeah,
but I'm so proud of Amy, and I love how they were able to still include her in this, even though she's aged. When they were like, she wants to be taller. It's brilliant.
But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. And yeah, I appreciate having you guys on and talking. And
anytime, man, just let us know.